In the frigid darkness of a January night in 2014, a military man and his best man embarked on an 800-mile road trip from the desolate Camp Lejeune in North Carolina to the distant city of Lafayette, Indiana. The biting cold and negative double-digit temperatures set the stage for an eerie journey that would be etched into their memories forever. As the two comrades pressed on, the unforgiving weather forced them off the main interstates.
Dang, it's really coming down out there. Maybe we should pull off somewhere.
Shutting down the familiar routes. Desperation gnawed at them as they realized they were running out of gas, stranded in the middle of nowhere. The only glimmer of hope was a dimly lit truck stop they stumbled upon along the desolate back roads.
That looks like a decent spot.
The truck stop was an enigma in the darkness, a lone blacked-out truck and trailer, devoid of any distinguishing marks. Ignoring the unsettling feeling that crept over them, they entered the tidy diner, greeted by a waitress, a cook, and a solitary truck driver.
Hi, how are y'all doing tonight? I see this storm's got you all cooped up in here too.
The military man, versed in the ways of the road from his upbringing in the trucking industry, hatched a plan to seek help inside. Approaching the mysterious truck driver, they explained their predicament, hoping for a few dollars to refuel their vehicle and make it to Indianapolis.
Hey, you think you could help us out with a few bucks to help us get to town? I promise we'll get you back.
The driver, shrouded in an air of mystery, agreed to help and bought them a cup of coffee. For half an hour, they engaged in conversation, sharing their stories and the purpose of their journey. Grateful for the unexpected generosity, the military man left the diner with $20 and a promise to return. The roads to Indianapolis were treacherous, and the hours passed slowly. Finally, they reached the city around 10 o'clock in the morning, eager to repay their debt of gratitude. However, as they pulled into the truck stop, an unsettling sight greeted them. The once lively diner now stood boarded up, a silent testament to abandonment and decay.
What's going on here?
Undeterred, they spotted a police car parked in the lot and decided to seek answers. Approaching the officer, they recounted the surreal encounter just hours earlier. The officer, seemingly unfazed, chuckled at their tale and cryptically remarked, "Oh, you met the ghost of 3." Chills ran down their spines as they processed the officer's words. Two military men had shared a cup of coffee, exchanged words, and received assistance from 3 individuals in a diner that, according to the officer, had been boarded up for the past 25 years. The truck they had seen earlier was nowhere in sight, leaving them with an unsettling realization. They had crossed paths with something otherworldly, a twilight from the past. The military man couldn't shake the eerie feeling that lingered long after their encounter.
There's no turning back.
The truck stop, once a haven in the cold night, now existed only in their memories, a surreal chapter in their lives. The inexplicable nature of the experience haunted them, leaving unanswered questions that would echo in their minds for years to come. Perhaps the truck stop was a portal to a bygone era, a place where the veil between the living and the supernatural was thin. Or maybe, in the desolate hours of that winter night, they had unknowingly entered a realm where the past and present coexisted, and benevolent spirits provided assistance to lost travelers. As the military man embarked on the next chapter of his life, stepping into the realm of marriage, the ghostly encounter served as a chilling reminder that sometimes, in the loneliest stretches of the road, the past has a way of reaching out and leaving an indelible mark on those who dare to journey through the unknown. If you're ever out late on those empty roads to Indiana, remember to think twice and fuel up before night takes over. The night hung heavy with an unsettling stillness as I stood before the looming Borden residence in Fall River, Massachusetts. The air was thick with the weight of history, and the shadows seemed to whisper of a darkness that clung to the walls like a malevolent specter. It was August 4th, 1892, a date etched in the annals of horror when Andrew and Abby Borden met their gruesome end within these very walls. Now, the house had transformed into a bed and breakfast and museum, drawing in curious souls seeking to unravel the secrets that whispered of lingering spirits. As a tour guide at the Lizzie Borden house, I once dismissed the paranormal tales that clung to the place. When I started working here, it was more of the history. I really didn't care about the paranormal. I'd admit later. But the spirits within had other plans for my skepticism. Guests recounted eerie encounters, laughter echoing through the corridors, toys moving without a hand to guide them, and objects rearranging themselves in the dead of night. It wasn't long before I, too, became a witness to the supernatural. A room, untouched by living hands, revealed scattered toys as if animated by unseen forces. A picture defied the laws of physics, crashing to the floor and sliding across it without a discernible cause. A closet door groaned open, driven by an unseen hand. As the eve of the anniversary of Andrew and Abby's murder approached, the house seemed to come alive with an ominous aura. Myself and 2 fellow guides found ourselves entwined in a bone-chilling episode. Us 3, standing together, felt a sudden sharp pain in our left eyes simultaneously, the very location of Andrew Borden's fatal injuries. The air crackled with a presence, a communion with the spirits trapped in the haunted echoes of the past. However, the most bone-chilling tale unfolded during a tour. I, as the guide, dared to challenge the supernatural. Instructing the group to silence their cell phones, the air thickened with an eerie anticipation. Suddenly, a cell phone rang, breaking the silence. The woman, visibly shaken, uttered words that sent shivers down our spines. It's my mom. Bewildered, I offered an escape for her to take the call, only to receive a response that froze my blood. She died 2 years ago. The boundary between the living and the departed blurred within the walls of the Borden home, leaving me forever changed by the chilling encounters that lurked within its haunted corridors. I never once doubted the paranormal again after that moment, and never stepped foot inside that house alone again. In the obscure recesses of the 90s, a period veiled in nostalgia for many, I found myself entangled in a tale that transcended the boundaries of the ordinary. A tale that unfolded within the walls of a once casual home, turning it into an eerie realm fraught with suspense and unexplained phenomena. This story, etched in the fabric of my childhood memories, began innocently with a seemingly mundane purchase that would unveil a haunting terror lingering for years. It all commenced when my father, a wanderer with a penchant for discovering hidden gems, stumbled upon a quaint magic shop nestled outside the serene town of Santa Rosa, California.
What's this place?
Little did he know that this peculiar establishment would become the birthplace of a dark force that would weave its way into the very fabric of our lives. The catalyst for our descent into the inexplicable was a ventriloquist doll, a homage to the legendary Edgar Bergen and his enigmatic dummy sidekick, Charlie McCarthy. The doll, a birthday gift chosen by my father, would serve as the harbinger of a nightmarish chapter that none of us could have anticipated. As the cashier rang up the sale, an unsettling chill permeated the air. She fixed her gaze on my father, her eyes harboring an otherworldly knowledge. With an eerie smile, she uttered words that would later haunt our collective consciousness. You know when you put your hand inside the doll, he's going to come alive. We dismissed it as the ramblings of an eccentric shopkeeper, a whimsical parting gift for a customer. The doll, initially a source of joy for me, soon morphed into an object of disquiet. Its head, crafted from unyielding plastic, betrayed an uncanny ability to change expressions. A fixed smile would contort into an unsettling grin, casting an ominous shadow over the once innocuous plaything. Worried about the inexplicable changes in the doll's demeanor, my family resorted to locking it away in a cupboard each night. However, the puppet defied such feeble attempts at containment. One fateful night, the household was jolted awake by the eerie pitter-patter of steps echoing through the living room. Assuming it to be the dog or a family member, we ventured into the darkness, only to find an empty living room illuminated by the pale glow of the moon. And there it sat. The doll, perched ominously on the couch, a silent sentinel bearing witness to the unfolding horror. As the unsettling incidents escalated, so did our collective fear. My uncle, left alone in the house, reported hearing my father's voice calling his name from the living room, a voice that resonated despite my father's absence. Intrigued and disturbed, He ventured into the room only to discover the doll, once again, occupying a position of eerie prominence on the couch, its vacant eyes seemingly fixated on some unseen horror. Haunted by the evil puppet, my family's collective dread reached its zenith. Fueled by our Mexican heritage and religious beliefs, my parents decided to sever ties with the doll, deeming it a potential vessel for demonic forces. They attempted to incinerate it, hoping the cleansing flames would purge the haunting presence. Yet, the doll resisted,
There's no
as
way.
if immune to the cleansing power of fire. Undeterred, my parents resorted to more drastic measures, attempting to sever it with a knife. The unyielding puppet remained intact, its fixed smile now mocking our feeble attempts to break free from its sinister grasp. Desperation set in, and we reluctantly disposed of it in the trash, hoping to banish it from our lives. To our dismay, the doll refused to be exiled. After the garbage collection, my father, in a futile attempt to rid ourselves of the puppet, retrieved the bin only to find it once again perched inside, a phantom that defied the laws of logic and reason. In a final desperate gambit, my family decided to bury the doll, hoping that the earth itself would serve as a prison for the malevolent force within. A hole was excavated in the backyard and cement poured in, entombing the puppet in a cold, unyielding grave. Years have passed and my family has long since moved away, yet the memory of that haunting doll lingers. In quiet moments, we find ourselves contemplating the possibility that it might find its way back to us, a dark and evil being lying in wait, biding its time until it can once again emerge from the shadows and cast its eerie spell upon our lives. The inexplicable events that unfolded within the walls of our once casual home remain a testament to the thin veil that separates the known from the unknown, the mundane from the supernatural, and the innocence of childhood from the unexplained horrors that lurk in the deep, dark recesses of memory. Even now, when I glance out back at night, my thoughts are haunted by the possibility of seeing a shadow of a puppet lurking in the dark, forever haunting me even after all these years. In the hushed solitude of my dimly lit apartment, I find myself revisiting the bone-chilling narrative that my brother unfolded about the enigmatic house in Georgia. The haunting events transpired in the late 1990s when I, seeking a new beginning, migrated to the Peach State. To my surprise, my brother, yearning for familial bonds, decided to follow my lead and leased a quaint house,
She's a beauty,
its facade belying the paranormal entities that lurked within. The house, an antiquated relic from the 1800s, cast a spectral shadow over our lives from the very first step inside. Despite the picturesque exterior, an indefinable darkness permeated the air, sending shivers down my spine. Unbeknownst to me, the ominous whispers had already begun their sinister symphony, emanating from the unseen corners of the ancient abode. As I assisted my brother in moving, the creaking floorboards beneath us seemed to echo the cryptic secrets etched into the house's time-worn structure. The disquietude reached its crescendo when, in the midst of arranging furniture in the bedroom, I became acutely aware of a heated whispering. The clandestine conversation and almost audible argument reverberated from the ceiling, hanging in the air like an overshadowing mist. The hair on the back of my neck stood on end, and an unsettling feeling of unease overcame me. Fleeing the room in haste, I confronted my brother about the unnatural occurrence. "This place isn't cool at all," I asserted, sharing the details of the bizarre encounter. However, my brother, dismissive of my apprehensions, downplayed the incident, assuring me that it was merely the idiosyncrasies of an old house. "As long as you're good," he quipped. "I'm not good, but I'm going to help you. I'm going home, and I probably won't come back here," I responded, unable to shake the foreboding premonition that clung to me like a malevolent specter. Little did I know, my brother's decision to stay would unleash a series of inexplicable events that would forever alter the course of our lives. The house, like a dormant beast, bided its time, patiently awaiting the opportune moment to reveal its true horrifying nature. Days turned into weeks, and the house's eerie ambiance intensified. My brother, once confident in his reassurances, found himself ensnared in a web of the supernatural. The climax of terror manifested when my brother's young daughter, a mere 4 years old, was discovered wandering alone on a bustling road, her hand raised in an innocent gesture that concealed a sinister truth. The authorities were summoned, and the grim reality of our predicament began to unravel. The child, untouched by the skepticism of adulthood, recounted her inexplicable escapade with a disconcerting matter-of-factness.
She took me out.
The old lady that lives here took me for a walk. We opened the door, petted the dog, and went for a stroll, she confessed, her words sending a chill down our spines. The implications of her testimony were staggering. The front door, a formidable barrier for a child of her stature, had seemingly yielded to an otherworldly force. The old lady, an unseen entity, had orchestrated a whimsical journey that defied the laws of reality. As we grappled with the implausible, the haunting realization settled in. The house harbored dark secrets beyond the comprehension of the mind. My brother, a father gripped by fear for his child's safety, made a swift and resolute decision. He packed his belongings, severing ties with the dark presence that had ensnared his family in its grasp. The old house, with its time-worn walls concealing a history steeped in darkness, stood as a testament to the entities that coexist with us. As I sit here in the silent expanse of my apartment, I can't shake the feeling that the horrors witnessed in that old home may not be confined to its crumbling walls. The whispers linger, echoing tales of unseen horrors that may still stalk the recesses of our lives, waiting for the opportune moment to unveil their darkness once more. And so the story of the house in Georgia remains etched in my memory, a scar of the inexplicable and the unknown. It was the 90s, and in the gentle embrace of Portland, Oregon, I embarked on a simple drive to meet friends. The city lights slowly faded as I navigated the quiet roads, blissfully unaware that this evening would soon transform into a haunting chapter etched in sorrow. Suddenly, the comforting rhythm of my journey was shattered. Traffic grinded to a halt, and as I inched forward, a tragic tableau unfolded. A car wreck, a twisted symphony of metal screaming pain and loss. Amidst this macabre scene, a cold shiver crept up my spine. And there she was, a woman occupying the emptiness of my passenger seat. Clad in work attire, she exuded an eerie calmness as if she belonged to another realm. My heart thudded, attempting to comprehend the visitor in this tableau of grief. In a heartbeat, her eyes locked onto mine, a silent plea for answers.
Can you help me?
How did I get here? Who are you? She implored, her presence a delicate fusion of the living and the dead. Panic etched lines on her face, a mirror to my own disbelief. Stumbling over my words, I uttered, "I'm Julie. It's going to be okay. I'm here to help." I unraveled the painful truth of the car crash, realizing she had become a ghostly passenger in my life, a haunting reminder of the fragility of existence. As the minutes passed, the shadows deepened, and the unsettling reality of the situation sank in. I coaxed the distraught woman toward a clearing in the trees, where an inexplicable ray of moonlight cast an eerie glow. There, with a voice as delicate as a whisper, I encouraged her to walk into the light, toward an unseen sun. And then in an instant, she vanished. The quiet rustle of leaves replaced her presence, leaving me alone on the side of the road, haunted by the encounter. In a daze, I pulled over, clinging to the hope that it was a figment of my imagination, a manifestation of the trauma witnessed at the accident site. Days slipped away, but reality rudely interrupted my attempts to dismiss the eerie and bizarre encounter. A news story unfolded, chronicling the fate of a trucker in a tragic car crash. The details unfolded like a tragic script, and there, on the screen, was her picture, the woman who had silently occupied my passenger seat. She had become a casualty of that unforgiving accident. The unexplainable and the somber had woven themselves into the fabric of my reality. The comforting abode of my thoughts turned into a desolate landscape of sorrow, a tale of darkness that lacked any rational explanation. Even now, the memory of that melancholic drive lingers, an ever-present ghost of sorrow that refuses to fade away.